Okay, so let's talk about a new crypto. Well, it's not a new crypto. I think it's a crypto that will become one of the top 5 cryptos in a relatively short period of time. I would hazard to say over the next 2 years. And so to put things in context, you all know I'm a massive Ether bull, right? So I'm a massive fan of Ethereum. But obviously, again, this is going on YouTube at some point, so big caveat, you can still be very bullish on things, but the time frame in which you're bullish is very important. So I think Ethereum has oodles of upside, like crazy amounts of upside, but not for the near future. I think there needs to be some sort of crypto colonic irrigation, and I think it is going to come with the FCA and the SEC doing all the crypto regulations and smackdowns and stuff. I think basically any crypto that is deemed a security is going to have massive fines. Smaller cryptos probably won't be able to keep up with the regulatory compliance, because when they regulate you, it's not like, oh, you're now regulated. There's shitloads of stuff a project or a company that has to do on a regular basis, to the point they have to employ a full-time compliance officer and jump through endless hoops all the time. So I think a lot of the smaller projects will just die. The bigger projects like Ethereum, they'll pay the X million pound fine, and then they'll just carry on they'll just carry on as normal. So I think Ethereum's gonna sorry, yes, Reece.
Would it definitely be a fine, or would they say we want 2% of the supply or something?
I don't know. No one knows.
If they said that would have a massive effect on.
Maybe. I don't think they'll demand supply. I think it'll be more. I think the same treatment that they give to the banks, they'll give. Because the banks pay hundreds of millions of dollars of fines every year, and I think it'll be the same. I don't think they'll say give us some of your supply, But yeah, so I'm massively bullish on Ethereum, just not now, okay? So context, YouTube, context is everything. And so for the moment, because of we're slowly exiting a sustained bear market, you have to play things in the right way. So Bitcoin is the thing that always accelerates out of the bear market first. Every bear market, just look in the past, Bitcoin booms first, and then eventually there's an alt season, and that's when the alt and Ethereum go nuts. So for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be, only playing with Bitcoin when I do finally get back in after all the regulatory hoo-ha. So, but the thing with Ethereum and all that sort of stuff is that everyone gets caught up on TPS, transactions per second. So if you see here, we've got Visa, 24,000 per second, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people think, oh, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they'll never be able to replace, Visa and stuff like that just because of the TPS. Now, the problem with crypto is that there's a thing called the trilemma. And the trilemma is you have 3 points to this triangle. You can only pick 2, okay, typically. So you can have a crypto that is scalable and very secure, but then you most likely won't have decentralization, or you can have something which is highly scalable and decentralized, but flimsy on the security aspect. So the trilemma has been a big dilemma for crypto projects, for the last 10 years, really. So what's happening is that you're having crypto projects like Ethereum, so layer 1s, where they are, let's say, decentralized and secure. Again, I know Ethereum isn't really decentralized, it's massively centralized at the moment, but in essence it is decentralized and it's very secure, just like Bitcoin is, but it's not scalable, obviously. The throughput and the TPS are very, very slow. So that's where layer 2s come on board, right? So you have a very secure, decentralized base, and you're having all these layer 2s like like Optimism and Arbitrum, etc., trying to do all the fast work for it. And so this is where zero-knowledge EVMs are the key to success. Now, if you're new to crypto, or hell, you've not heard of this before, you're probably going to be a bit confused. It's like, what the hell is ZK EVM? So let's bring it back to the basics. So When you look at mathematics, humans have been doing maths obviously for tens of thousands of years, right? And a lot of mathematics has already been discovered. It's quite rare that new maths is out there. Now, there's a thing called zero knowledge proofs, and that was something which was developed probably 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. So from a mathematics point of view, it's on the cutting edge of maths. It's a brand new, shiny thing. And what a zero knowledge proof does is it allows you to share or prove information without giving away the information. So let's say I was Satoshi Nakamoto and I said, I am Satoshi. And you go, prove it. Now, I don't want to give you the secret key to the Genesis block because then I'm giving you billions. So it would be handy if there was something which could prove that I knew the password without giving you the password. Does that make sense? So I always try and break things down into a simple way of looking at things. Let's say you're a wannabe pirate and you have a big treasure chest of gold and valuables. And you're down the pub and you go to your mate, I've got some treasure. Sure you do, Dave. Sure you do. Prove it. Well, I don't want to give you the key because then you'll have my treasure. So this is where zero proof knowledge comes in. The pirate wannabe goes, I got this fancy maths thing here, which proves that I have this treasure, and inside this treasure chest, there is actually treasure. It's not an empty box. So it's a pretty cool way, right? And a zero knowledge proof is, as you can imagine, like pivotal with crypto. When crypto is all about trust. Well, the fact that you can't trust anyone. So this solves so many things. And so all of a sudden it's like, okay, so I can prove stuff without sharing the actual information. Critical. So you can then move one thing forward. We'll keep the questions at the end, buddy. So what is a zero knowledge rollup? So a zero knowledge rollup is, sorry, is something slightly different. So it uses, again, the same principle as zero knowledge proofs. But imagine this time you have, again, your wannabe pirate. You know he's got treasure, he's got money, and he wants to go to Butlins. He wants to go up to Skeggy and have a good time. Now, instead of going up to Butlins, and by the way, he's only got this big treasure chest of coins, right? And he doesn't want to go to all the rides and open up his chest and pay for each ride, does he? So what he wants to do is he wants to basically pay someone one thing up front to get like a magical hat, right? So he wants to go to the checkout and go, right, I want to pay for a magical hat that gives me access to all of the rides. Just one time. And so this is what a zero knowledge rollup is. So it's effectively like buying this magical hat once, one transaction, and then being able to go on all of the rides. Not the best analogy. Here's a better analogy. Let's say this central table here is the gambling table, right? We are a group of friends and we always have a little gamble, like, we're going to play pool this week and the winner gets X amount. And let's say when we're doing all this gambling, we're only transacting with Bitcoin or Ethereum, etc. Now, let's say one week I win £50 off Elisa, right? So she has to then ping 50 quid's worth of Bitcoin or let's say ETH to me. When she does that, that then goes on the chain and finality is somewhat slow with the ETH, etc. But let's just say we had a special thing where we had like a little ledger, right? What if we had some sort of little table? And by the way, let's say it's not every week, let's say every minute, every second, we are all gambling with each other. And we've got all sorts of transactions going back and forward. And let's say we're all trading, let's say. It would be quite archaic and slow and inefficient if every time one of us had to ping some money over, we'd put it through the Ethereum blockchain, right? Because you're having to pay gas fees constantly. It takes minutes to get finality. It just wouldn't work. And let's say we're doing hundreds of these bets and deals per minute or per second or whatever. It's just not worth doing it. So what a zero knowledge rollup is, it's a bit like having a little spreadsheet and we do all of our transactions and betting and trading, whatever, off chain. So we're like, okay, you win that one, you win this one, you win the blah, 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 blah. And then once we filled up this piece of paper, then we go, okay, what are the actual, there's what, 5 of us, I can't count, there's 6 of us here on this table. We figure out, okay, so the 6 of us, what are the actual funds that need to go to each person? And it's that final thing that you then put on the blockchain. It's very similar to the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Yeah, in fact, think of it like the Bitcoin Lightning Network. You do all of the transactions and stuff like that off-chain, and then when you want finality, you put that final thing on-chain to get processed, etc. So, so that's what a zero-knowledge rollup is. Okay, so that's just some background. Does that make sense? Zero-knowledge proof, you can share stuff without proving it. A zero-knowledge rollup is something where, again, you can still do this same thing as zero-knowledge proof in the way that you don't have to share stuff, but you're basically bundling up transactions and then putting one transaction on instead of 100 transactions. So let's move forwards. Let's talk about virtual machines. So this is a bit different. Let's say you had a magical notepad or notebook, right? Again, this picture is created with Midjourney. I just love all graphics in this presentation. From now on, if you ever see a graphic from me,
Pirates?
it's, oh no, I drew the pirate. You can't pay for that shit. Yeah, any graphic you see is created by Midjourney. It's amazing. I literally just typed in magical notebook and that's what came out. It's amazing. Anyway, let's say we had a magical notebook and anything you wrote in it came into existence. So if I was a chef, I wrote down a recipe for a cake or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, it created some food. Or I wrote some stories in and then it made it into a book, or put some instructions in it and it created a table, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying, right? Magical notebook creates, you can code it, you can give it instructions, and it will just create some stuff. That is what Ethereum is, okay? The way you think of Ethereum is basically a magic notebook where coders can come in and put some instructions on Ethereum, and what pops out? A dApp, a decentralized application. So you can code up put these, your instructions basically into Ethereum, and it will pop out some sort of voting dApp or a marketplace or whatever it is. So I always try because I'm an idiot, I have to put things in simple 5-year-old English. So Ethereum is basically a virtual machine, right? It's this magic notepad. Now, let's take things one step further. What if there was, so we've got this virtual machine, what if there was a zero-knowledge proof compatible virtual machine? So here, for example, let's say there is a voting dApp, so voting decentralized application based on the Ethereum network. Now, the problem with voting is that you need to be able to prove that, one person, one vote, right? So with crypto, it's really hard, or just in general, to prove things. So let's say you had a zero-knowledge proof type voting dApp where it really did prove one person, one vote. Well, let's say there's this voting thing and, let's say it wasn't zero-knowledge proof. Let's say every 10 votes you had to put them in a block, right? Well, all of a sudden, if you make this a zero-knowledge proof voting dApp, what you can basically do is effectively, as I said, bunch up a whole bunch of votes and then put them into the same block. And so, yeah, as I've already said, it's very much like the Lightning Network for Bitcoin. So ZK EVM, so zero-knowledge Ethereum virtual machines are the key to the Ethereum scaling issue. Okay, so Ethereum is amazing, but it just cannot scale for toffee. But the problem with these zero-knowledge rollups is that a lot of them are not compatible with the EVM, so the Ethereum virtual machine. And so if you look at Arbitrum and Optimism, they are zero-knowledge rollups, but then they're not compatible with the EVM. So, like, for example, if you're on Arbitrum, like, you have to make a choice. Do I build this dApp on Arbitrum or do I build it on Ethereum? And there's, porting over is quite tricky. And so one of the races to really scaling Ethereum is the magic zero-knowledge rollup compatible with Ethereum's virtual machine. So I'm confusing myself now. And this is where Polygon enters the scene. Polygon has just done it. They literally launched a few days ago. So they now have a zero-knowledge ZK rollup, which is compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine. So a lot of people look at Polygon, the token is Matic, like a layer 2, and it's basically a layer 2 on steroids now. So it's 9,900% faster than Ethereum. And by the way, if you've ever done a transaction on Polygon, it is boom. Like I did one the other day. By the time I lifted my finger off my mouse, it had entered the other exchange. And I was like, what? It's faster than like my computer. Like it was blistering. And it's also 90% cheaper in terms of gas fees. So that's the other thing. You don't want to be doing lots and lots of transactions on the Ethereum network because the gas fees are just ridiculous right now. I sent 50 USDT to someone the other day. Cost me $9 in gas fees. It's ridiculous. So I was just doing a test. I was sending a bigger chunk, but I always do tiny chunk first and then the rest because I made that error before. Yeah, $9 to send 50. Anyway, and also I needed to port some Arbitrum-based Tether to Ethereum. Jesus Christ, that cost me like $200 in gas fees. Ridiculous. Anyway, so, and the cool thing with this Polygon zero-knowledge rollup is that it's more secure than Arbitrum or Optimism, which are the main competitors, because they're basically using the security of Ethereum. So it's EVM compatible and it has simple porting. That's the key thing. If you have a dApp on Polygon now, if you have a dApp on Polygon, you can simply just port it over to Ethereum with zero hassle, minimal coding. It's literally just like copy and paste. So what this now means is that the whole Polygon ecosystem is basically now in the Ethereum ecosystem. These are they're very symbiotic in nature. The success of Ethereum helps Polygon and vice versa. So Polygon zero-knowledge EVM basically turns Ethereum into basically like an internet of blockchains. Have you heard of any other crypto which are trying to be the internet of blockchains? Probably have. So all of a sudden, Ethereum is now walking all over Polkadot, Cosmos, and Avalanche's territory, whereas before they weren't. So all of a sudden, Ethereum's use case suddenly just expanded into a whole new world. So it's directly, or it's competing even more so against Polkadot, Cosmos, and Avalanche. Privacy is also key. Again, this is just just on the Polygon website. You can really do digital democracy in terms of one person, one vote. Like there's all sorts of regardless of what you believe, like apparently there was lots of speculation, rumors that dead people were voting in the 2020 elections and stuff like that. And it's not just that; it's other countries as well where people that don't even exist are putting votes in some nations. And I think it's crazy that we still use paper voting, which there's so easy to manipulate. So there's all sorts of things like passwordless logins. So I think that's really cool because a lot of people spend a lot of effort trying to secure their crypto ecosystem, have all these different passwords and seed phrases and whatever. And what do? They put it all in LastPass or 1Password or one of these password managing tools. And what happens if someone hacks that? What if someone gets access to your LastPass? Great. They now have the keys to your whole freaking kingdom. That's one of the reasons I don't use them, not for my crypto at least. And so, having passwordless logins is great because that also protects you from keyloggers as well. So let's say you have a computer and you're very secure with your crypto stuff. You're not using LastPass or anything like that, and you're very secure. But even the most secure, cautious person could accidentally get some sort of virus or phishing software. Someone could send you an email and you open that PDF thinking it's an invoice and go, boom, all of a sudden you got some sort of virus or a keylogger in it, or you go to a dodgy website by accident or whatever. And now all of a sudden, someone in Vietnam is logging every keystroke you put in. And it doesn't take long for them to realize, oh, this is a password, this is a password. So passwordless login, I think, is awesome. So yeah, and by the way, Polygon has first mover advantage. It is the first zero knowledge roll-up, or zero knowledge EVM. And as a result, guess what happens? When you're the first mover, you don't necessarily need to be the best tech. I mean, look at Ethereum. Ethereum was the first mover in being like the WordPress of crypto, basically. Being the first proper crypto virtual machine. It's not the best, it has, there's so many flaws to Ethereum, but even though there are loads of crypto out there way better than Ethereum in like almost every metric, why are they still relatively unheard of? It's because Ethereum had first mover advantage. They got to that critical threshold where they had enough users and then it just shot up. So as a result, they have so many major partnerships. I had to add in some newer ones. Nike, or was it Nike, JP Morgan, Prada. And the thing is, it's not just traditional people that are it's not just Web3 and like NFT projects that are jumping onto Polygon's bandwagon. It's traditional people, like banks and brands. Starbucks are launching their NFT program using Polygon. So, and the thing is, this is a bit of a flywheel. So big partners are good because, one, obvious reasons really, more network participants give you more transactions, more demand for Matic, more network value, Metcalfe's law. And two, brand awareness and trust. If you're a institution, let's say you're a bank or a pension company or just, it doesn't have to be that big, just any company full stop. If you see that the world's biggest banks and brands are using Polygon to do their NFT project or DApp or whatever, you're okay, cool, they must be good. I mean, that's just what people think. And also because it's really simple now, and it's basically bypassing that trilemma that I mentioned. You got the security of the Ethereum network, and you have crazy TPS, if TPS is an important thing to you. So it's a positive flywheel effect. And also, me, my thoughts about the World Economic Forum and ESG and all that. Well, the cherry on the cake is that in April they went, oh, we're going to go carbon negative. And they are following through. So recently, they hit their first milestone. They're now carbon neutral. Davos are going to lap that up, aren't they? So, yeah, so they're carbon neutral already, and it won't be long until they're carbon negative. So it just ticks another box. So if you're a bank wanting to create some sort of DApp or voting mechanism or trading website or whatever, like you have ESG boxes to tick. So you may as well just use Polygon because you're like, oh yeah, we're using a climate change friendly crypto, unlike dirty Bitcoin. But yeah, what else is there? I was going to say, I've forgotten. Anyway, so yeah, think of Polygon as basically a bridge connecting the old world to the new world. So looking at the tokenomics, because I always look at basic tokenomics, just when I'm doing a cursory glance at something. Most of the supply is out there already circulating, so to the tune of about just under 91% of supply is already floating. So one of the things I look out for is, is there a big chunk of supply about to hit the scene, or does the team own like 80% of the supply, and could they dump it? It's already circulating. Market cap is just over 10 billion, and in terms of network effect, it's it's a big one. Last time I checked, it was already number 9 on coin market cap, and so in terms of market cap, so it's already a big coin. And now you're probably thinking, oh, Siam, it's a bit of a cop-out saying you think it's going to be in the top 5. But if you look at the market cap of the top 5, it's a lot more than 10 billion. So there is, even if let's say I was right and Polygon entered the top 5, that's still a nice uplift. That's a nice potential upside there. Looking at the basic tokenomics, this is what they've done with a lot of the proceeds. Again, yeah, pretty standard, really. There's no gotchas. There's nothing great there. There's nothing bad there. It's just, yeah, whatever. When we look at the revenue, it's increasing. So I'm a big fan of crypto that actually make real revenue. Obviously now the rebasing DAO movement has blown up. Real world yield is the next thing. So this is ticking the box, and you can see that it is, slowly building up in terms of revenues and fees. If you have a look at the daily active users over the last year, not much has changed. You can see a sharp uptick, since February, and I think that's because of the new ZK EVM. But yeah, nothing really to write home about there. Coding. Yeah. So which one is which? Yeah. So we have the purple one is active developers. So it doesn't look that impressive, but actually that's not a bad. This isn't a bad thing for me. It just shows us that it's had roughly 50 full-time active developers over the last year. Okay, so it would be better if it was growing massively, but the fact that it's been pretty flat, it means that they've had a core team of developers working on it constantly for a year, and it looks like it's probably going to go up a bit, maybe. But also the daily commits in GitHub, So the fact that they haven't done a massive chunk of activity than nothing, because some crypto projects they'll do massive effort, and then they'll do loads of PR going, look, we have the most coding commits, blah blah blah, and then nothing happens. It's just consistent work, isn't it? And that's what you want to see with a tech dev, or with the dev side of a company. I then looked at the financials. Sorry, it's a bit small to see. Not that good. You can see that Polygon as a company are being run like a typical Silicon Valley startup. They're bleeding a lot of cash at the moment. So if you look at the last quarter, they burned through $45 million. And they have been doing that for quite consistently. But they've just raised 450 million. So I think they were all right for a bit. They've just extended their runway a little bit longer. But it's who they got money from, which is more important. They got money from Mark Cuban, Sequoia. Basically, a lot of things that Sequoia invest in, they tend to do well. So yeah, Tiger, not so much. SoftBank, Galaxy Digital, not so good. Alameda, yeah, I know. But yeah, so that's not a good name for me anymore. After FTX, he is not. I've lost a lot of But anyway, they've got a chunk of money, so they got their runway secured. And as of the 27th of March, it's mainnet beta. But yeah, it's all open source now, which is great. So it's good things, good consistent things. Now, obviously, I've talked about the upsides. Let's have a look at the downsides. They had massive layoffs, so they had to reduce their workforce by 20%. So 100 staff had to go. I personally don't see that as too much of a downside. Remember, this is being run like a proper tech company. Every tech company in the US is downsizing. They're borrowing cash, they're borrowing money, and they're downsizing. That's what a good company does in the lead up to a recession. So to me, that shows me that they are looking where the puck is going. They can see that there's potentially an economic recession coming up. They're raising cash as fast as they can, and they're reducing their outgoings. So to me, that looks like, it's not good that they've had to lay off some people, but they're trying to be more lean, lean and mean. The other downside is that it is highly correlated to Bitcoin and ETH, which, like every other crypto. So obviously, this is the biggest picture I could find with Matic, and orange, by the way, is Bitcoin. But obviously, you have to really zoom in. So when you zoom in, look at the correlation. So Bitcoin is the orange one. It's, I would say, 80, 90% correlation? Again, I didn't put it in here. It's highly correlated to Ethereum as well. So what does this mean? It means despite all the upsides and downsides of Polygon right now, if US stocks crash, Bitcoin and ETH are dragged down with stocks because there is an 80 to 90% correlation with crypto and stocks, which means if Bitcoin and Ether go down, Matic's going down as well. So just bear that in mind whenever you see, oh, this coin is doing this, blah, blah, blah. And these days, most big announcements are a bit of a non-events, really. So the mainnet went live a couple of days ago. What happened to the price? Pfft, nothing. The other downside is this, the Shanghai hard fork coming up on the 12th of April for Ethereum. And so what this means is that on the 12th of April, a shit ton of Ethereum is unstaked and is somewhat liquid. Now, not all of it all at once. So when we look at it, there's just under $33 billion worth of ETH that become unlocked. And a lot of these stakers have been staking and locked in their staking for more than 2 years now. So there's a big debate. Now, did you see on Telegram, I put that little poll out? That should have expired right now. So, as in, I only ran it for, what, 15 hours or so? I want to see what everyone voted. 51 votes. When does this end? Okay, it hasn't ended yet, so I can't see the results. And I did the same on Twitter as well. So actually, I'm just curious, what does Twitter say? Because obviously, it's like, is Ethereum going to pump or dump? Let's see. That should have expired by now, maybe. Interesting. You probably can't see it, but 67% of people think it's going to dump. 33% says it's going to pump. Interesting. What do you all think? Before I share my...
Dump, I believe that.
You think dump? Dump. Big dump or small dump?
Maybe a big one. It depends if it's going up like that now, up towards it.
Interesting. Okay. I think it's going to be a non-event, and I'll explain why. So the first thing is that it's not all at once. So yes, there's roughly $33 billion that is somewhat coming unlocked, so to speak. But there are 3 phases to the unlock. So at the moment, when you're looking at the composition of who is locked up, so you've got, most of it is liquid staking. So people like Lido, etc. You then have centralized exchanges. So this blue bit is Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance mainly. Then you have staking pools like Rocket Pool and stuff like that, and then others. Now, in the phases, the first 27. So the bulk of the selling is actually in phase 2. Now, this doesn't really mean anything because obviously this, it depends on the price. So I think it's like several hundred or $100 to $200 million worth. But I think a graph is easier to understand. So yeah, basically, most of the exits or the unlocking happens in the first week, let's say, and then it peters off. Now, I found a good article on a thing called Milk Road recently. Never heard of it, but they had some cool graphs. And when you look at the percentage of the amount of ETH staked, it's really small. So this is all of ETH, and this is the bit that's coming unlocked. Sorry, so this. So these are the rewards that all of these staked ETH have generated. So all of that, I reckon, will be sold maybe. But I think it's only 15% of all ETH that is actually staked up. So when you compare this with other layer 1s, a very small percentage of ETH is actually locked up. Sorry, is this in the way? So yeah, it's a relatively small amount. And if you also look at this one, so Milk Road, I think I agree with this article. They've sort of estimated that probably only about $500 million worth of ETH will probably be sold. So what is that as a percent? So what is half a billion divided by 33 billion? I can't do that in my head. What is that? Is that 5%? 5. Sorry. So 500 divided by what? 33,000. 1.5%. Doesn't sound right. Anyway, but going with this article, they think about $500 million worth of ETH will be sold. Now, when you compare that to the average daily volume for ETH, very small. So yeah, yeah. So I think lots of people will be selling, but compared to the average daily volume for ETH spot, I think it will be relatively low. So I think who saw the trading pub on Thursday where I was talking about the liquidation levels? Basically, there is a whole pot of liquidity around $1,800–$1,900 ETH, and then a much bigger chunk, much lower. So if I was gun to head, I would say that we'd have a mini pump to $1,800–$1,900 ETH, and then a small, then a move down. I'm not sure how low. For those watching this in the future, today is the 1st of April, so let's see how that goes. So could we get back on the point? Yes, I can. We're here to talk about Polygon. So overall, I approve, but there are certain caveats. You've got to be careful of the Bitcoin-ETH correlation. And there's two things there, because at the moment, Bitcoin and ETH are correlated, but I think that very soon there'll be a situation where there's a disconnect between Bitcoin and every other crypto. I think there will be a situation where Bitcoin buggers off north and the rest of crypto are going to get, will suffer a little bit because of the SEC regulations and all that, and Bitcoin sails above all the regulations. So really, be aware of the ETH correlation, not necessarily Bitcoin. Storm cloud, as I keep saying constantly. And the last thing, the thing I'm most worried about is the VC hype exit. There are a lot of VCs in Ethereum and also Polygon. So I reckon there could be a situation where the new zero knowledge EVM is great. It does really well. It's climate change friendly, so it's not killing any polar bears. And there's going to be loads of hype, which means a lot of people go, oh my God, this is amazing. Polygon is, everyone buy Matic. What are the VCs going to do? Idiots. They're going to take that hype. People start rushing into Matic, and I think they're going to use that retail liquidity to exit. So I think VCs could, any real token appreciation, I think, is just going to be met with the other side, as in VCs on the other side dumping. The other thing, which I'm also cautious about, is that Matic is not, so the success of Polygon is somewhat disconnected to the price of Matic. So Polygon can do all of these amazing things for the Ethereum community, and Matic doesn't necessarily have to go up. So you can have shitloads of projects suddenly using Polygon or Ethereum, etc. And the thing is, and the reason being is that they're not using Matic for gas fees. That's the key thing with the new ZK EVM, is that they're using Ethereum for gas, and they're using Matic for staking. So I think there will be some Matic price appreciation once all the these red things have dissipated. But I don't think, I think a lot of people will be looking at Polygon over the next, couple of weeks or months, and they'll probably go, oh yeah, it's going to shoot to the moon. I think it's going to go up, but I'm just temper that bullishness a little bit, because it's not like Doge, where Elon goes, hey, Doge is amazing, and just goes nuts. Polygon can do really freaking well, and Matic may not grow as fast. So, yeah, but I still think it'll be a top 5 crypto pretty easily, because it's got first mover advantage. It's really freaking fast, and it doesn't kill polar bears. So people are going to love that. What time is it? So 15:10.
Teddy Town, the realistic traders. Teddy Town.
Right.
Teddy Town.
So if everyone could please stand up, that would be great. This is, Reese is like, so who's not been to a cuddle before? Oh, you're all, okay, yeah, so you know the drill. We'll do 2 rounds of heads and tails, then a punch up at the end with your thumbs. So if you think it's heads, hands on your own head, tails, hands on your own bum, okay? 3, 2, 1, heads. Oh, wait. Mate, Teo, your hands are in your bum. Oh, yeah, you got it wrong. Sorry. God. I got a really bad sleep last night. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Head to tails. 3, 2, 1. Heads. Yeah, so heads people stay standing. God's sake. 3, 2, 1. Tails. Sorry, but 3, 2, 1. Heads. Okay, so there's 3 of you. 3, 2, 1. One of you needs to be a tails. Oh! Tails! Hey, winner. Okay, everyone up again. So that's the first winner. Everyone up again, other than Daniel. Because we need a contender to take on Daniel. Heads. That's so demoralising. You go, oh, stand up. Okay, sit down again. 3, 2, 1. Heads. Oh. I wonder what Pips thinks that we're all doing. 3, 2, 1. We need one head. At least one. Everyone's got their hands in their bums. Who's gonna? Oh, we got 2. Oh, okay. 2 heads, 2 tails. Tails. Oh, sorry. 2 golden oldies. Not by age, but hearty members. Tails. Okay, both of you, please come to the stage. Daniel and Andrew. Right. So, sorry, not a thumb war. I thought it was it's heads and tails. No, so
Rock, paper, scissors.
yeah, that's it. Jeez, my brain's gone today. Right, so let's do best of 5, and it's 3, 2, 1, show. Okay, but one of you count. When I try and do it, okay. I'll just keep the score.
Okay, ready? So both of you both of us have to do.
Oh, do you know how to play rock, paper, scissors?
No.
Oh.
I don't know this. No.
Oh.
It's very high tech.
Yeah, okay, so you can choose either rock, paper, or scissors. Yeah, so rock, paper, or scissors.
Scissors.
Now, scissors obviously beats paper,
Yeah.
but rock beats scissors.
Oh God.
And paper beats rock.
I'm totally.
So you got to try and anticipate what he's going to do and use the one that's going to beat it. So if you think he's going
So
rock,
you have rock,
yeah,
paper, scissors.
that's it, those 3. So if you think
So
he's going to do a
say,
rock,
For example, you go 1, 2, 3, show.
and he's got
I'm gonna be
scissors,
useless at this.
Or 1, 2, 3, paper.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
we'll do it slowly. Okay, so good luck. I'll keep the score. Go for it.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
So rock beats scissors. So
That's 1, 0.
yeah. So Daniel's got 1. Okay, and again, best of 5.
1, 2, 3, show.
You got rock. Is that
Yes.
rock? Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
take- I'll
So
cancel rock.
I don't even.
2. Okay, Daniel needs 1 more to win.
1, 2, 3, show.
Ah, unlucky.
Okay, 3.
Rock. Ah, sorry. It's your first time though.
We'll
There we
practice it in the clubs, you know.
There we
Hey,
go.
First time I come here for like 10 years.
Nice. However, not empty-handed. Cheap bubbly.